Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here, back here with us. I'm Ryan Nemec, the Education Director of the VIA Institute on Character, and very pleased to be here with my partner in crime, Ruth Pierce, who's also the VIA Product and Practice Development Consultant. So on behalf of the VIA Institute on Character, we really genuinely want to thank you for being here. And I'll say this probably several more times, but we are expressing that gratitude to you because it means that either you're investing more in your self-care, which then will help so many other people, or you're here to get more ideas and tools, or maybe just to connect with people. Maybe it's just to share your feelings, share what's going on, and that also will help many other people. So we give a deep bow of gratitude to all of you for being here. And also we know this is a very busy time of year for people. We know that Passover just completed, and so many of the people in our community were celebrating Passover, and the celebrations continue there. And many others are celebrating Easter this coming Sunday, and so are busy preparing for that. And by the way, when I say busy preparing for that, preparing in our own new way in this new world, probably in a way we've never prepared before for such things. And others are getting ready to spend maybe some sacred time, some special time with family for different purposes. And I hope that that can be the case for all of us, whether that's to connect with people remotely or by phone or in Zoom meetings like this, or with people in your own living quarters. And I wanted to say this too, that maybe I hadn't said in the last couple meetings, and that is that, it really is a privilege for me to be here with you. I feel, very humbled to be here, to be sharing some of these things with you, and it's something that I don't take for granted. And it's something that I think is just a great privilege for me, to be able to then see some of these positive ripples going out into the universe. So thank you for that as well. Thank you for being here. So we want to continue to offer you space in these meetings, space to learn some of these different tools and concepts and stories. And we'll continue our approach of about 20 minutes of sharing on character strengths and a meditation, then followed by sharing by all of you. We have a fun little experiment that we're going to do with all of you as well for that part. And so this day here is April 10th, Friday. So this is our third and final session on stress, our theme of the week, and we'll move on next week to specific strengths. And so here we're focused on the world, moving from managing our stress with mindfulness and character strengths within ourselves, managing it a little bit more, or maybe even thriving in stress in some cases in our family environment, and now thinking about it more in the world. So how do you be in this world? What does that mean to be in this new world that can be very chaotic and challenging and stressful? So one way that we can be in this world is with humor. And as we've talked in the previous sessions, humor is such an important way to be able to manage stress. We know that we experience positive physiological benefits of humor to manage stress, and it can decrease stress hormones in our brain. And we also know that there's this psychological benefit of humor, and there's this social benefit of connecting with others. So we can really think of it, and we can think of all the strengths this way, but very holistically. And it's sort of a holistic stress management tool. So I thought I might share with you a couple humorous quotes that have been buzzing around the internet, and maybe you've seen some of these. So just a few of them to bring a little bit of levity as we think about living in this new world and living with humor and bringing humor into the world. So here's what one person said. They said, "Half of us are going to come out of this quarantine as amazing cooks. The other half will come out with a drinking problem." Here's what someone else said. "I need to practice physical distancing from my refrigerator." Here's another good one from somebody else. I used to spin the toilet paper like I was on Wheel of Fortune. Now I turn it like I'm cracking a safe. Another good one. My body has absorbed so much soap and disinfectant lately that when I pee, it cleans the toilet. I actually like that one a lot. Another person said, I'm so excited. It's the day of the week that I get to take out the garbage. What should I wear? That was me yesterday. Another person said, I still haven't decided where to go for Easter, the living room or the bedroom. And one more, day 15 of homeschooling, and my child just said, I hope I don't have the same teacher next year. I'm offended. So perhaps there's something in those for everyone, something with family and couples and just going about our daily living. And, you know, one of the things I love about the character strength of humor and is that we can really analyze any joke. And so that accounts for the little meme kind of joke video that we showed on Wednesday of this week. And for all of these is that most jokes will have three parts to it. It doesn't apply to everything that's funny or every joke, but in general. So one part is there's some truth to the joke, but then also there's some untruth to it, something that maybe isn't to be taken literally. And then third, there's always some ambiguity between the truth and the untruth. You know, how much of this is really true, how much is not? So I think it's a fascinating way to, if we want to dissect humor. And some of us are saying, you know, I don't care about analyzing the humor. I just want to laugh and have fun. But some of us kind of like to really look into the morsels and the details of some of these strengths. So think about that when you're thinking about jokes and those kinds of things. Or if maybe you're somebody that likes to tell jokes and make people laugh. So that's one way, and we can operate in this world through any of our character strengths. So humor is one way. You know, another important way to think about, and we'll talk a lot about this over the weeks, and that's one of the VIA Institute's strongest messages and one of the strongest messages from the science of character strengths, and that is we can live in this world through our signature strengths by bringing your best self forward. And so for those that don't know, your signature strengths are those strengths that are highest for you. Perhaps they're your top 5, 6, or 7 on the VIA survey, on the rank order from 1 to 24. They're those strengths that feel most true to who you are. That when you use them, you feel like you're being your true self, like it's the real me that's coming out. Usually our signature strengths are quite energizing, maybe not all the time, but a lot of the time we feel a sense of happiness, excitement, energy when we get to bring them forth, when you're using that creativity that you're naturally high in, when you're expressing a sense of organized prudence or self-regulation, you might feel that sense of energy and a sense of kind of a good sense of accomplishment. And also our signature strengths are very easy for us to use, very effortless, that we don't really have to think much about them. If we just remember, oh yeah, which of my signature strengths could I use in this stressor right now, or in dealing with this difficult relationship, or maybe I want to help this other person. So how might I use one of my signature strengths to help me? And you probably won't have to think very hard because the strength just sort of emerges out of you. Because each one of us, all of us listening here on the call, me, you, Ruth, all of us are, I hesitate to use the word expert, but let's use it anyway. We're all experts in some way on our signature strengths, meaning that we're very experienced with our signature strengths. Well, if I use the legal term for expert, it's just somebody that knows more than the average person about a topic. So I think the word expert could apply actually. But so you know a lot about your signature strengths because you've been using them for so long. So you can pose those kinds of questions to yourself with whatever stressor you might face this weekend, any stressor, any difficulty, any conflict, and you will probably get some insight if your mind is then open to the response. Okay, how might I use my social intelligence in this situation? How might I use a little bit more curiosity, a little bit of questioning and exploring of things? maybe a little bit of my signature strength of judgment and critical thinking, and apply some a little bit more analysis on this and really looking at this from different points of view. So that's how we can operate in this new world. Also, when I think of being in this world, I have this sort of image, a moving image in my mind. And I don't think I've ever shared this, surprisingly, in any of the mindfulness workshops or mindfulness-based strengths practice courses that we've done. So I'll share it here. But I for 15, 20 years, I've always had this image of a person, like a Mother Teresa type of person, a Dalai Lama, a Thich Nhat Hanh type of person, someone who's maybe very centered. Some people might say very holy, but I'll say very centered, very focused. And they're this great mindful presence. And I picture that figure, that person, walking slowly in the busiest cities of the world. Certainly not these days, but pre-coronavirus. You imagine, say, like New York City is usually what comes in my mind. And so I imagine the enormous hustle and bustle and just so many people kind of going in all sorts of different directions. It's an organized chaos walking along in Manhattan, one of my favorite places in the world to be walking in. And everyone's going so fast and moving, and there's so many sounds and all these different things, so much stimuli. It's just feeding all 5 of your senses. It's incredibly exciting in that sense. And I picture this figure, this Mother Teresa type figure, this Thich Nhat Hanh type figure, just walking slowly amongst the chaos. And people are cutting in front of that figure, and they're walking behind them, and they're getting bumped, and they're unfettered. They are just moving along, going from point A to point B. And they're happy doing that. They're very present. They're just taking in all of it as they walk. And with each step that they take a breath, maybe one inhale for each 2 or 3 steps, one exhale for each 2 or 3 steps. They're kind of looking around, they're present to it. And so that's what has come in my mind so many times, and I don't know why, but I get a lot of joy for some reason out of that image and out of thinking of that. And sometimes when I'm really stressed, really upset, I think of that figure, because it does feel like a chaotic New York City streets sometimes in my house, just on the other side of this wall over here. Sometimes that's why I look this way, on the other side of the wall, seeing through what are my kids doing and right now. And I have a new puppy, and is the puppy destroying something like it actually was just about 30 minutes ago, destroying a new toy. What's going on that sense. And so I'm walking around the chaos some of this time, and I just, people are asking, the kids are asking for things, and people are bumping into me, and that, just like that New York City figure. And I'm breathing with it. I'm focusing on it. And maybe I pause and mindfully speak to something. So again, I'm not trying to say I always do that. I'm just as mindless as anybody on the call here, and just as mind wandering, and just as much stressed, and so on. But that image carries with me really strongly, and is a way for me to think about how to operate in this world. And when I think of having a mindful presence, it's not just sitting quietly on a cushion or a chair, but is actually a mindful presence actually operating amongst our routines, and doing the dishes, and making meals, and so on, and connecting with people, that perhaps we can use those figures walking amongst New York City or Paris or London or any busy city. We can keep that in our mind. I want us to take maybe a deep breath right now. So I want to offer you a meditation. And so this meditation is on "The World Needs You." And so the world needs you was originally a blog post I wrote for Psychology Today a couple weeks ago in response to the coronavirus. And then I decided to make it into a one-page, kind of like a poem. People have called it a poem. I wasn't really thinking that way, but I guess it's a one-page poem. And it's been translated into 11 languages. There's a video being made of it right now. And so why not maybe a meditation on it? And so what I'll do is I'll read these 24 character strength actions that we could take. And I want to invite you, as we're going through them in a focused, meditative way, to be thinking about which character strength or strengths stirs within you the most. Which of the 24, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, do you want to use? How might this be a catalyst for you to use one of these strengths? Perhaps sooner rather than later. Let's even say today or this weekend. Okay? So just be attentive, be mindful to what hits you, emotionally, what comes up intuitively as strongest as I'm going through these. So I'll begin with the bell, and I'll read it, and then we'll do a short debriefing of it. So I invite you to allow your eyes to close if that will help you right now to focus inward. If you're feeling a little sleepy, feel free to keep your eyes open and maybe focus on something small in front of your screen or on your table. And as always, occupy a position of strength for you right now. It's so important to embody strength, because even if we don't feel very strong, sometimes embodying that strength physically can then merge within us a bit more on a psychological or emotional level. And while you occupy this posture of strength, I invite you to become present to your breath, which is alive in you right now. Really feeling this next inhale carefully. And really feeling this next exhale. So see what emerges strongly for you. The world needs you, all 24 of your best qualities. The world needs your ideas, your strategies, your best coping tools, creativity. The world needs you to talk with interest to those around you, letting them express and release their burdens, curiosity. The world needs your rational and balanced thinking to counterbalance the inner voices of panic and anxiety, judgment. The world needs you to keep learning and growing in new ways so you can feel good about your day. Love of learning. The world needs your sound advice a glimpse of the bigger picture amidst the scary details. Perspective. The world needs your bravery to help someone you've never helped, to see the world anew despite fear. Bravery. The world needs you to persevere, to push through huge obstacles and suffering you've never faced before. Perseverance. The world needs your truthfulness. Now is not a time for exaggeration, fake news, or guesswork. Honesty. The world needs your enthusiasm, to uplift your energy even when you feel sucked dry from uncertainty and unknown. Zest. The world needs every ounce of your warmth and genuineness now. Each ounce is worth 10 times its original value. Love. The world needs you to not lose sight of your compassion and generosity, or your active seeking of ways to help. Kindness. The world needs your empathy. Every city, neighborhood, and being can be a subject of your concern. Social intelligence. The world needs you to see you are a citizen of a very large group that can choose to be collaborative. Teamwork. The world needs your fairness. Instead of hoarding, give. Instead of blaming, praise. Instead of the victim, the hero. Fairness. The world needs your leadership. Your fresh ideas will inspire the different groups you are part of. Leadership. The world needs you to let go of the family irks, slights, and irritations that will fill your mind. Forgiveness. The world needs you to sometimes put the attention on others and not yourself. Humility. The world needs you to be cautious every time you leave home, at least for a while. Prudence. The world needs you to be under control, not riddled with anger, but contagious with your peacefulness. Self-regulation. The world needs you to feel inspired by others' goodness, because that means you might be altruistic too. Appreciation of beauty. The world needs your hope and your silver linings, offered thoughtfully, as so many around us are falling into cracks of darkness. Hope. The world needs your appreciation. Show others you are seeing their kind acts, and they will do more of them. Gratitude. The world needs your humor, your playfulness, your ability to create levity when we feel heavy and frazzled. Humor. The world needs you to see we're all in this together, that every action has a preceding action and a consequence. Spirituality. The world needs you, all of you.